Okay. Excuse me. All right. Let's get into this. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, going to be talking a little bit about Jim Irsay, something Stephen Holder put on ESPN. An article came out about Jim Irsay, what he's been going through, what's been happening with Jim Irsay. We never really had all the information, but we got a lot today. And also, there was JJ Stankovic put out a summary of the first week of training camp. I live in Florida. I can't be at training camp to see everything that happens. So everything that I know about training camp is stuff that I'm seeing from other places. But I know not everybody's on Twitter, not everybody's on all the different outlets. I pay attention to a lot of different things so that I can get the information and get it to you guys just in case you aren't in this spot or that spot. But today, let's go ahead and switch this over. So we have the ESPN article from Stephen Holder talking about Jim Irsay making his first public appearance since December. And it turns out he's currently rehabbing a major lower body surgery that's preventing him from walking right now. And he is slated to introduce and induct Dwight Freeney into the Hall of Fame this upcoming weekend. And my understanding is that he can stand, which is what is one of the things that's said in this article. He can stand. He just can't walk. He doesn't have the power to really walk and push off with his left leg right now. So he's still going to be able to induct Dwight Freeney into the Hall of Fame. But what we knew of before was that, he was found unresponsive in his home, had a severe respiratory illness, and people were suspecting that it was an overdose, right? He was given a drug, what do they call it, a dose of naloxone, which is a medicine used to reverse the effects of an opioid overdose. So everybody just assuming because of the police report that came out, Jim Irsay ended up overdosing. He hasn't said that. And he said, I've had some episodes in my past. It's natural that people's minds can run away and exaggerate. So he understands why people would think that. And it seems like whatever the case was, whatever happened for him to have to get that, maybe it was his past that they gave him a dose of that. I'm not sure. Whatever the case may be. But it does turn out that, Jim Irsay, at least from what he's saying, it wasn't an overdose. Look, Jim Irsay's older, man. He's having some issues, and some of the issues that he's been having, and I don't know if you guys can quite read it, but I got you here where it says that he's had, if you didn't know, Jim Irsay used to be a power lifter. Okay, he used to do powerlifting competitions, and he's been having procedures over these last few years because of some old injuries from his powerlifting days. And I believe it was to his shoulder and his hip. Yeah, shoulders and hips, which at his age, it's starting to affect his health. It's starting to affect his mobility. So Jim Irsay, just not completely what he used to be, right? Of course, physically with his age, he's 65 years old, so you're going to have some of those issues pop up anyways, but a lot of surgeries recently for Jim Irsay. So right now, this quote here from him says, it's frustrating because the left leg just doesn't have the push off yet that I need. I can stand up and those sort of things, but in terms of walking and that sort of thing, it's hard to say exactly how far I am from that, but it's not far. God knows I've been working hard just to bring myself back. So he's working on trying to be able to walk again. We'll see if that's able to happen. And I'm sure now that we have this update, I'm sure there's going to be more updates as time goes on what exactly is happening with Jim Irsay and what's going on with that situation. Then coming into this, the training camp notes from the first week of training camp from somebody that's been there, been able to see everything happening. And the first note here is that Josh Downs is balling out, and that's everything that we've been seeing, right? And everything that we've been talking about. Josh Downs looks like he's ready to take that next step and be a guy that's going to break out this upcoming season. Obviously, getting targeted downfield, getting targeted in the short area, the intermediate area, which is kind of what we saw last year with Anthony Richardson in the game. We saw him doing some downfield work with Gardner Minshew in. Honestly, Josh Downs was doing more of the short to intermediate because, Gardner Minshew just doesn't have the arm that Anthony Richardson does. But Josh Downs looks like he's taken that leap into year two from year one to year two. Making that adjustment, obviously has a really good relationship with Anthony Richardson, so that factors into it as well. The coordinators, all the coaches talking about how good and how smart Josh Downs is. Just everything coming out of training camp through this first week is telling us that Josh Downs is probably going to turn into a star or a superstar this upcoming season. Now, it's obviously opportunity plays into that. You have Michael Pittman Jr., Jonathan Taylor, and Anthony Richardson going to be getting the ball. A.D. Mitchell probably going to be getting the ball too. So maybe the opportunity is limited, but either way, Josh Downs looking very good right now. And then you have this where Kenny Moore goes on Twitter, says iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. One's going to be great. And obviously the Colts retweeting this, having this picture here. These two, right? You have the slot corner and our slot receiver going up against each other day in and day out. And Kenny's already, the best slot corner in the NFL. Having him go up against Josh Downs every day is going to be great for his development and what he's able to do. So this training camp period with that battle going on is going to be intriguing to continue to watch. See, does Josh Downs continue to get the upper hand? And what is he able to do against Kenny Moore as time goes on? Now, the rest of this is information that we're all seeing together. So, talking about second-year players who show signs of growth in camp. Tackle Blake Freeland, who had a tough year last year. Braden Smith missed a lot of time, and Blake Freeland and Bernard Raymond missed time. So Blake Freeland suiting up at left guard, suiting up at right guard, or right tackle, and left tackle. So he had it tough as a rookie coming in. Wasn't drafted to be a guy that was going to be playing right away, but ended up having to be something that happened. So with him in, he just had some tough times. Now, he also drew some tough matchups, one of which was Myles Garrett in the Browns game. He had some tough games, and not completely his fault. You expect that with rookie tackles. A lot of rookie tackles come in and need some adjustment. They need to continue to get bigger and continue to work on things. So Blake Freeland got a lot of experience last year. And coming into this year, what we were looking for is exactly what Bernard Raymond did, just to get stronger in the offseason, work on footwork and get stronger, right? Get that strength up coming into year two. So even though he's still not somebody who's going to be starting for us, at least that we would want starting for us, right? Braden Smith, Bernard Raymond are our starters. So Blake Freeland, as long as he can sit back there and continue to learn, would be good. But to know that he's worked on things that he needs to work on throughout the offseason is good, right? Looks like he's showing up with some added weight this season, looks stronger just by looking at him. So, and coaches, some of the quotes here, the coaches with rave reviews, obviously talking about, he's doing a great job. Steichen's going to say that about everybody because he's not going to throw his players under the bus. But talking about how the communication is a huge piece of it, especially for offensive linemen. And Blake Freeland, because of the communication aspect of it, is able to just be quicker, right? Quicker decisions, knowing what he's supposed to be doing. And right now that's the goal for training camp, is continue to work on that communication. Let's see. Then another quote, it's a big part of it, a guy that's gaining weight and getting stronger and bigger and quicker and faster. I mean, you see those guys that come into the league and they develop year after year after year and their bodies change. And we've seen that as Colts fans, right? Anthony Costanzo came in, wasn't great right away, had to get his body, he had to get bigger and stronger. He also had to work on his footwork, right? There were a lot of things he had to get better at. By the time he retired, he was a top 10, maybe even top 5 tackle in the NFL. So we've seen these tackles come in and be able to do things, and the question is, right, with these guys that we're drafting, what does the future look like? What's the future of Ryan Kelly? Quentin Nelson, you expect, probably going to be retiring a Colt. We're just going to continue to sign him, make him the highest paid guard in the league whenever his contract comes up. You just expect that. But then what is Ryan Kelly, right? We have Tanner Bortolini. We have Matt Gonsalves, who has inside flexibility, but is probably going to be playing tackle. But then there's Blake Freeland, who's been playing tackle. And so what are we going to do with all these offensive linemen? Is Blake Freeland one of the guys that's going to be the future at offensive line? We're going to have to wait and see what happens after the 2024 season. But then you have A.D. Mitchell, who is doing everything we expect him to do, with the measurables that he has, right? His size, the speed that he has, the acceleration, the agility. You expected him to be able to come in and do really good things. Now, one of the things that's exciting about a guy like A.D. Mitchell is that I think he played in 5 big time games, whether it was bowl games or championship games, the playoff games in college. A.D. Mitchell played in 5 of those and had 5 or 6 touchdowns. So always performs in big games. In training camp, already making highlight, real type plays, even without the pads being on. So A.D. Mitchell coming in, being under the tutelage of Reggie Wayne and learning from Reggie Wayne. Also having Michael Pittman Jr., and he's been with Michael Pittman Jr. every step of the way pretty much since he's got drafted. So doing a great job of learning and continuing to develop. He knows he needs to get better at certain things coming into the NFL. And with him working on those things and wanting to be great, I have no doubts A.D. Mitchell is going to be a big component for the Colts here in 2024. I expect him and Alec Pierce obviously are going to be competing for that number 2 receiver. And at some point, I just think it's going to be too clear that A.D. Mitchell has to be in that spot. Although what we've seen in the little bit of practice from Alec Pierce is that he's moving better, right? The agility is something that he seems to have worked on, his side to side, the footwork, and being quicker on his feet. So we'll see how that translates into 2024, but I do expect A.D. Mitchell to be that guy for us. Okay, then another rookie who's flashed some upside during training camp, 5th round linebacker, Jalen Carlisle. Somebody who has experience playing safety but is moving and got drafted at linebacker to fill that spot that Shaq Leonard was in the Gus Bradley defense. And then when Shaq Leonard left and ended up getting released by the Colts, you ended up with Ronnie Harrison in that position. It looks like Jalen Carlisle is very quickly getting to a point where he might take that position, right, in that nickel defense, which most teams run nickel most of the time. That's why you end up with a nickel cornerback and why nickel cornerbacks are so important. But having Jalen Carlisle out there with what he can do physically, being able to keep up with tight ends on the inside and have that size on the inside. Well, having that size is good for the run game too. You can run that package and be good in the run game as well. So a lot of different things where Jalen Carlisle could end up on the field. We're going to continue to watch that position battle as time goes on, right? Does he end up being the starter as we go into the season? This says defensive coordinator Gus Bradley said that the plan is for Carlisle to play will, but his skill set could lend itself to playing that same position. The outside third linebacker spot when the Colts are in their 4-3, their base 4-3 defense. So sounds there like Gus Bradley's actually trying to run more of a base 4-3, have that versatility while also having Kenny Moore out there. So we'll see how that looks. Obviously, with 2 linebackers on in the nickel, you would expect that it's going to be Zaire Franklin, E.J. Speed, but maybe Carlisle has the versatility to come in and be a cover guy on some of those downs. And then as we continue to move on here, they just continue talking about Carlisle, how he's a freak athlete, kind of makes him a cheat code as he develops as a linebacker. Understands the game in terms of defense, so somebody smart. You would expect Chris Ballard and his guys, they do a good job of drafting smart football players. As we continue to look on, this is talking about the kickoffs, the new kickoff rule, and what's happening there. Watching the Colts practice without pads on Thursday was strange. We're so used to high arcing kickoffs that land around the goal line. Returned at full speed by singular, or maybe more accurately, we're used to effectively ceremonial kicks being blasted out of the back of the end zones. Instead, these new dynamic kickoffs are legitimately plays designed to maximize excitement and impact while minimizing injuries. So as the Colts were working through their first training camp practice period on kickoffs, they cycled through at least 12 deep players to receive kickoffs. So they have a lot of different guys that they're trying at kickoff with the new kickoff rule. It's been Josh Downs last year and Isaiah McKenzie. Dallas Flowers has done it in the past. So Ashton Dullin's done it in the past. It'll be interesting to see who they decide to go on and what are they going to do there. Now, I did see recently what I didn't realize before is that there's going to be 12 players on the kickoff, which is going to be kind of strange. But coming into it, that'll lend itself to having two guys as returners on the plays or setting up for blocks, however they decide to do it. I'll have to watch some XFL film on kickoffs to see how it's really done and to see kind of how they did it, how it worked. But hopefully able to bring on more excitement on the kickoffs. And it looks like there's a quote here from Special Teams Coordinator Brian Mason. Says, we're just trying to get as many guys back there to see who can handle some of these different situations because it's still very speculative exactly how this is going to play out. There's certainly a chance or an incentive that there's going to be trick kicks. The ball could be rolling around on the ground. You're not necessarily looking for a traditional kickoff return that can catch an easy ball with an over 4 second hang time. So who are some of the guys that are really trustworthy ball handlers that can feel ground balls and get the ball vertical? Okay, so it seems like they're doing a lot of different things, right? Doing a lot of different types of kick, probably kicking it toward the pylon, kicking it shorter, and trying to see who can effectively get a ground ball. Now, there's obviously going to be some gamesmanship with that. You're trying to make guys get in situations that they don't want to be in. Those ground balls, with the way a football is on the ground, very unpredictable. So going into it, it'll be interesting to see in the preseason how the kickoffs are going and how things are really working. How do the Colts want to go about things from a kickoff perspective and a kick returns perspective? Hopefully we're able to get a good idea of what's really going to happen. But that seems to really be it on the notes from there. And then I want to go and make my way over to Twitter, actually, because there were some more things that I saw after the stream yesterday that I wanted to go ahead and show you guys. Some things that have come out from practice, just like we mentioned, how they were probably went down in practice. Oh, man. So as soon as I opened this up 10 minutes ago, Colts veteran defensive end Samson Ebicon, who went down in practice yesterday, tore his Achilles. The season over before it began. So we're already at a point where we're losing somebody. Samson Ebicon is officially out for the season. That is breaking news 10 minutes ago. Good thing we got on Twitter, man, seeing that open up. Unfortunate, led the team in sacks last year with 9.5. Coming into this year, expected him to be a big part of that rotation, but now it looks like Latu and Dio, those two guys are going to have to be people that we are depending on to be a big part of the rotation. It'll be interesting to see as we go into practice tomorrow, who are we going to put in position to be the guy that steps up into Samson's spot. We'll pay attention to that, and I'll get that information to you guys. We're going to have a live stream tomorrow right after practice, so we're going to be right on top of that. Again, Samson Ebicom does have a torn Achilles. Yesterday it seemed like it might not be too serious. There wasn't a whole lot said about it, but unfortunately he is going to be missing the entire season. That is just so unfortunate. Somebody we expected to come in, have another big year for us. Let's see. Looks like I messed up here. Don't know how to get my window capture back. Oh, no. Okay. Not sure how I'm supposed to get that back. All right, let's see if I can, boom, there we go. All right, so looking at some of the stuff, so I already showed you this, the iron sharpens iron thing. This is the interception from Julian Blackman that happened yesterday. Colts end up putting it out on Twitter. Just a good hands catch right there. Good job to get up, start running. Wouldn't have been a touchdown or anything, but just a great job by Julian Blackmon to go up, get that ball with his fingertips, bring that in. I see a couple people have joined us over the last couple of minutes. Just for those that are just coming back, just joining us, whatever the case may be, breaking news is that Samson Ebicom is going to be out for the season with the torn Achilles. We are going to be without Samson Ebicom this upcoming season with a torn Achilles. And then I already showed you the iron sharpens iron thing. One's going to be great, making each other better. You're different, fam. That was the exchange between Kenny Moore and Josh Downs on Twitter. Now you also have another play here from A.D. Mitchell here on the outside. Just does a good job stopping in place right there, coming back to the ball, and a good catch, right? Jalen Jones in coverage on A.D. And boom, snapping back. So getting reps with the ones right there is really good, but just showing a good ability of being able to change direction, especially for his size. Exactly what you love to see. Then you have AR throwing the ball to Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce making a good catch near the sideline here. Just let you watch this. Boom, gunning it out there. Right over the hand, too. I want you to be able to see that was right over somebody's hand here. Who was that? See if we can't get a view. Looks like that's... Nope, not EJ. Okay, it looks like Juju. It's over Juju's hand as it goes out there. Able to make a nice diving catch toward the sideline. So he's also getting reps with the ones. So both these guys getting reps with the ones. You love to see it. And this is just, this is the Josh Downs catch that we showed. That was in between two guys. Thought it might have been Dallas Flowers out there. Turns out it was Kenny Moore. You look at this picture and where the ball placement is. Nick Cross closing in on him. Kenny Moore over the top. Josh Downs right in between them. Great catch near the sideline. So Josh Downs has been great. And again, coming back to the homepage here, Samson Ebicom does have a torn Achilles. And going to go ahead and end this. I'm going to make my own video about this since that just came out. Try to get that out before I have to go to a day job. So appreciate you guys stopping by for another video. If you stop by during the live stream, I appreciate you so much. Love you guys. And of course, make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you get notified as we continue to have these live streams for training camp updates. Of course, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.